I don't know about you, but something about this season just feels off. You can feel the tension building not just on the track, but behind the scenes too. And what we saw this weekend wasn't just another rough race. It felt like one of those moments where you stop and think, something bigger is going on here. And here's the thing, today we've got two stories to break down, and they're more connected than they first appear. One shows what's happening on the surface, the other reveals what's really going on underneath it all. If you've been watching every week, you probably already sense it. But once we break this down, it hits a lot harder. So before we get into it, if you're a real NASCAR fan who follows this sport every week, hit that like button and consider subscribing. This channel is brand new, and we're trying to build something real here. The goal is 15,000 subscribers to start strong. If you want honest NASCAR talk, you're in the right place. All right, let's get into it. Everything unfolded at Bristol Motor Speedway. And if you've watched enough races there, you already know, this track exposes everything. There's nowhere to hide at Bristol. And for Kyle Busch, it exposed a season that just isn't coming together. Coming into the weekend, Busch was sitting 24th in points, no top 10 finishes, and a winless streak now stretching over 100 races, dating back to June 2023. That alone tells you the pressure inside Richard Childress Racing is real, especially around the number 8 car. And the race itself followed the same pattern we've seen all year. Busch spent most of the day buried in traffic, running near the back, struggling for pace and track position, completely out of rhythm. Then, lap 313 happens. Riley Herbst gets into Busch's left rear in turn 2, and around goes the number 8 car in traffic. But what happened next is what everyone is talking about. Busch goes completely silent on the radio. Not a word. Up on the spotter stand, Derek Nolan tries to steady things, trying to calm the situation. You can hear the frustration building as he acknowledges the obvious running in the 30S isn't acceptable, but yelling at each other won't fix anything. They need to stay together. And right there, you already get the sense the environment inside this team isn't good. Then Jim Pullman comes over the radio and everything escalates. Earlier in the race, he's been throwing adjustments at the car, trying everything, tightening it up, trying to get it to turn, but nothing is working. And now he's frustrated, really frustrated. He starts questioning everything over the radio, why the car won't turn, why nothing is changing, why they can't fix it. When Nolan says he can't fully diagnose it from the spotter stand, Pullman snaps again. That's not normal communication. That's a team losing its grip in real time. Then comes the moment that says it all. Under caution, Nolan tries again to reset things. He tells them they're still in the race. They need to stay united. Silence. He asks if they copy, and Pullman finally responds with 4 words. It's the same thing every week. That's not just frustration, that's someone losing belief. And through all of this, Kyle Busch says nothing. Not during the spin, not during the arguments, nothing. And honestly, that silence might be the loudest part of the entire situation. Because when a driver like Kyle Busch, a 2-time champion, goes completely quiet in a moment like that, it says a lot about where things stand mentally. He finishes 26th, multiple laps down, another race outside the top 10, another weekend where nothing clicks. And at some point, this stops being just a bad race. This becomes the season. No top 10s, 24th in points, 2 straight seasons without a playoff appearance, a winless streak over 100 races. That's not a slump anymore, that's a serious problem for a driver at this level. And this is where the second part of the story hits even harder. Because what we heard on the radio wasn't just frustration from one race, it exposed something deeper. There are real cracks inside the number 8 team right now. A crew chief who sounds like he's running out of answers, a spotter trying to hold everything together, and a driver who's completely silent while it all falls apart around him. Then you zoom out and the bigger picture becomes impossible to ignore. Kyle Busch's contract with Richard Childress Racing runs through the end of 2026. But now the question is starting to feel real. If things continue like this, why would either side stay committed? Busch didn't leave Joe Gibbs Racing to run mid-20s every week. A driver of his caliber still has options, and everyone in the garage knows it. Moments like Bristol don't stay isolated. They build pressure. They shape decisions. And that's why this matters. This isn't just about finishing positions anymore. This is about the future of one of NASCAR's biggest names and whether this partnership can actually survive. As a fan, you can feel it. Something has to change. Because if they don't find speed, fix communication, and build momentum soon, we might be watching the beginning of the end of this situation. And that's a hard thing to even say out loud. So now I want to hear from you, what do you think is really going on here? Is it the car, the team, the chemistry, or something deeper? If you enjoyed this breakdown, drop a like, it really helps the channel grow. And if you're into real NASCAR conversations like this, make sure you subscribe to NASCAR Central Race. We're just getting started, and the goal is 10,000 subscribers. If you want to be part of it from the beginning, now's the time. Because honestly, I still can't get over what we heard from that radio. This feels bigger than just a bad setup or a rough weekend at Bristol. This feels like a team that's been fighting the same problems for so long. It's starting to wear everyone down. And when you start hearing that silence is what sticks with me the most. Because if you've followed Kyle Busch for any amount of time, you already know this is not a quiet driver. He's emotional, he's vocal, he's involved in everything happening around him. So when he says absolutely nothing in a moment like that, it doesn't feel normal. It feels like one of two things. Either he's completely checked out, or he's just exhausted from saying the same things over and over again, with no real change on track. And that's where things start to get concerning. Because if this continues, it's really hard to see how this relationship with Richard Childress Racing makes it past 2026. It just doesn't add up anymore. A driver of his caliber is not going to accept running outside the top 20 every week, and a team at this level is not going to keep repeating the same struggles without eventually making a major change. And I keep going back to the move from Joe Gibbs Racing. That was supposed to be the reset, the fresh start, the chance to prove he could still win at the highest level of NASCAR. Right now, it feels like the opposite has happened. And the uncomfortable part is this: we're not even halfway through the season yet. There is still time to turn it around, still time to find speed, still time to rebuild confidence, and maybe even fight back into playoff contention. But after what we saw and heard at Bristol, that kind of turnaround is going to take more than just setup changes. It's going to take a complete shift, not just in performance, but in mindset inside that entire team. Because talent is not the problem here. Something deeper is off. And as fans, we're watching it unfold in real time. That's why the next few races are so important. They're going to tell us everything. Either this team finds a way to reset, fix the communication issues, and finally build momentum, or this situation continues to spiral in the wrong direction. And if it does, then we're not just talking about a rough season anymore. We're talking about a real breaking point between Kyle Busch and Richard Childress Racing. Because at the end of the day, NASCAR moves fast. Opportunities don't wait around, and drivers like Busch don't stay stuck in struggling situations forever. So yeah, this is one of those moments where you can feel something big is coming. Whether it's a turnaround or a complete split, we're getting closer to the answer. Now, I want to hear your take. Do you think they can turn this season around? Or is this already heading toward the end? I'll see you in the next one.